Lesson from the fire. Imagine you are sitting around a campfire with friends. You feel the warmth of the heat, but begin to be transfixed, almost hypnotized by the changing shapes of smoke dancing above the flames. As the smoke moves in various patterns, a face can be seen. While forgetting your surroundings, you imagine the face you see in the smoke to be who you are. First you think, how did I get in this smoke? Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished perhaps? Followed by the fear, I've got to get out of here before this fire burns my smoke-shaped face. You even say out loud, hey, do you all see my face in the smoke? No one does, because from their vantage point, the smoke takes different shapes, offering a distinction in experience. As no one but you sees your face shaped out of the smoke in sight, you feel sadness. No one sees me or understands the uniqueness of my experience. While the fate of the smoke-shaped face comes and goes, you suddenly realize, I am not the shape of the smoke in sight. I am the witness of it. You then return to your perspective as one of many observers sitting around a campfire. You say to the others, I just had the wildest spiritual experience. I lost myself in the shape of a face I saw in the smoke, only to realize the one experiencing it is so much bigger. I no longer think I am the smoke about to be burned by the fire. It can warm my skin, but it cannot touch the observer in any way. I now understand the nature of ego. As you share this insight to a mixture of resonance, silence, and confusion, the experience deepens. Everything you just realized was fundamentally true, but to stay there would be the creation of the spiritual ego. If ego were the face molded out of the smoke in view, the spiritual ego could only be the face of the one viewing it. Then you hear a voice within your heart. Are you ready to go even deeper than this insight? Just as you are about to answer yes, your experience changes. Suddenly you realize the shapes coming and going in the smoke, and each person sitting around you are all equal expressions of the fire in sight. It's as if the identity projected onto the face molded out of smoke, and even the identities of the observers around you are all unique ways the fire gets to know itself. When you thought you were a face dancing in smoke, your experience skimmed along the surface of reality, where you feared being burnt by the fire. Even when seeing yourself as the observer, you were a character separate from the power of the flame, close enough to be warmed by its heat, but without a direct realization of its infinite brightness and eternal power. Having taken things deeper, you have realized you are the eternal flame of existence, fueling the joy of self-discovery as both the observer of the fire and the beliefs projected onto the shape that smoke takes when viewing it. As the fire, you are the source of all experiences and the intersecting point of connection that makes you and the people around the campfire one united reality, even while experiencing it as separate witnesses or observers. Then a fear arises. How will I stay the fire? What if the others begin engaging me as their separate observer selves and pull me back into my body? Then your experience deepens. If the smoke and observer are equal expressions of the fire, then it cannot be wrong to experience myself this way. It was only limiting and dense when I thought I was only the face shaped out of smoke or the observer of the fire. Now that I know I am truly the fire within it all, just as everyone else is, I accept it as the will of the fire to explore interchanging experiences, whether as smoke, the appearance of people warmed by the flames, or the witness learning from its observations. You realize that even if pulled back into the infancy of smoke or the adolescence of observation, you have always been the fire within it all, expressing the power of light that doesn't know how to dim, diminish, or shine less brightly. Applying this to your life, the faces shaped out of smoke are the ever-changing landscape of thought. You are not the character each thought suggests, but the source of thinking itself existing just underneath the surface of your experience. The belief that you are these smoke-shaped thoughts and nothing else is the nature of ego. This is learned by the spiritual ego, or the observer of the smoke, which happens to be a more densely shaped smoke imagining itself still separate from the fire in view. All the while, the truth of your infinite nature exists as a fire that cannot be extinguished, that experiences itself as a world of thought and observers that come to life out of a timeless dance of smoke and ash. Once you know yourself to be the fire burning brightly in every heart, it is the will of the fire, beyond the grasp and understanding of personal will, that decides whether any moment is experienced as the smoke, the observer, or the fire itself. From this space of clarity, being the smoke or the observer no longer contains fear or limitation, since it is merely the way in which an inextinguishable fire of consciousness grows and expands. The fate of smoke can change, just as the perspective of the observer. All the while, you are a fire burning brightly within and throughout it all, with nothing to figure out, process, or keep straight. Even if there were something to process, it would just be the billowing mental smoke that reminds you how intelligent and powerful a fire you happen to be. This is the moment you are free. You cannot go backwards after knowing this. It's not a belief to maintain or an idea to defend. It's just the way things are. Now you can truly enjoy the magnitude of the campfire, no matter the differing experiences of those around you. All for love. Welcome, dear readers. You are often told that in order to truly love another, you must first love yourself, but exactly how does a person love themselves? True self-love, not ego bluster, is difficult for those who are spiritually awake as well as those who are not, because most believe that self-love refers to loving the three-dimensional false sense of self that most identity with as being who they are. Bluster and brag are often seen as excessive self-love, but in reality represent the lack of it, a state of consciousness that needs constant reassurance and tactics in order to feel that he or she is worthy of respect and love. As individuals spiritually evolve, they begin to remember and analyze past actions from a new and higher perspective. Words spoken and actions taken in a less evolved state of consciousness start coming to mind, bringing with them guilt, regret, and even self-loathing, a sense of unworthiness that leaves them wondering how on earth they can ever love this person. If this has been your experience, you are not alone, for just as with all earthly experiences, this stage is another facet of the journey, another step along the path to deeper spiritual realization. As you learn about and begin to accept the you that you really are, you automatically begin to understand, appreciate, and love the person you thought you were. Simply allow this aspect of self-love to unfold as you are ready. The secret to loving oneself is to stop judging your worthiness for love from three-dimensional standards and concepts. Loving self does not mean loving the ego, that false sense of self that you came to accept as being who you were, but rather means learning about, understanding, accepting, integrating, living, and loving the real you, the you that is divine consciousness individualized, the you have been unaware of throughout lifetimes. Most consider love to be an emotion because it is usually experienced that way. The word emotion means energy in motion. Love, as it is known and accepted by most at this time, is a limited three-dimensional concept of real love, the omnipresent energy of one divine consciousness forever surrounding and flowing to, from, and between all expressions of itself as people, plants, animals, extraterrestrials, nature spirits, to elementals, planets, etc. This ever-present interconnecting energy is interpreted and understood according to individual states of consciousness and can therefore manifest and even be experienced as hate as well as love. Most are as of yet unable to understand or even consider love as being an omnipresent God energy and will remain unaware of it until they are able to comprehend and integrate oneness. Through the process of living hundreds of previous lives as well as this one, every person has acquired personal likes and dislikes and has done things he/she now regrets. Everyone can remember situations where hurtful words were spoken and self-serving actions were taken, but always remember that all experiences are learning experiences meant to eventually bring every person to a higher spiritual awareness of self and others. Do not concentrate on or denigrate yourself over past actions. Make amends where or if it is appropriate, and then move on. Send light and love to those who may have already gone home, and forgive all who have offended you in the realization that they too are spiritual beings in the process of learning and evolving. Try not to dwell on or continue feeding low-resonating situations from the past that someone or others may want to keep alive. Common concepts of love are based in separation and promote love as being limited to sexual attraction, compassion, sympathy, desire, service, religiosity, etc. Because this is how God energy is commonly interpreted on earth. You are ready to move to higher consciousness of love from which you can more fully experience and express it to self and to others. Love is the substance of everything because it is all that exists. It is the creative, alive, permanent energy of omnipresent divine consciousness God. You are floating in it. It is the air you breathe. the water in lakes, streams and oceans, every tree and flower. A baby's smile and the wagging tail of a dog. It is relationship, wisdom, concern for others, peace, joy, and laughter. You are swimming in the omnipresent energy of love at all times and could never be separate from it, even if you tried, but it does not look that way on Earth, because three-dimensional states of consciousness continue to interpret God's spiritual expressions from levels of duality and separation. A belief. Mom. Because most are as of yet unable to see the reality that underlies everything, they continue to believe in and live from a false, conditioned, and programmed mind-formed interpretations of the perfect universe and ideas of divine mind. Your consciousness of reality is helping to lift and change this. We are the Arcturian group.